Hello, and thank you for joining us at the fire. I'm Jillian.
Greetings, this is Ben.
Ben is a beer deep.
This is beer 2.
Oh, never mind. Now I'm judging you.
Yeah, judge away. Judge away. I'll have 3, and the judgment slips away like my consciousness.
Well, don't fall asleep just yet, because we're going to be bringing the listeners kind of a fun-filled, different type of show tonight.
That's correct. We're going to be taking the show on the road up to northern Michigan this time. We will be exploring an abandoned town, a ghost town, Pere Cheney, and the only existing part of the town, of course, the cemetery.
Of course. So apparently it's in a very remote location, about 100 miles south of Grayling, Michigan. And the cemetery still stands. A lot of visitors, I'm sure we'll run into other people who are passing through on our way there. But there are local legends that are still passed down from storyteller to storyteller today. There's apparently an old witch that used to live in the town buried there in the cemetery.
Allegedly, okay, so the town was, I think, a lumber town. They were responsible for, I don't know, providing lumber, lots of trees. Northern Michigan, shitload of trees up there. So the town was thriving, it was beginning to grow, and then sickness came upon the town because I guess they built it above Native American land or something. And
so legend number 1.
Right, sickness comes into the town, kills a lot of people. It's enough to devastate the town where it's not a community that it once was.
Right, the population actually dwindled down to the double digits.
Yeah, I think after the last few people moved out after they closed the fucking post office. That's when you know you got to get out of town.
Right, but somehow they still maintain the cemetery today.
Yeah. So the cemetery, I think the gravestones are as old as the 1800s. Like Jill said, there is a supposed a witch buried there that was responsible for the demise of this town, of Pere Cheney. We're going to go check it out. I guess a lot of the headstones have been smashed, vandalized, just, fucking kids.
Which is too bad. Please, any of our listeners, please don't vandalize these sacred monuments.
Yeah. When you read on the news like, oh, somebody horrifically died in a roller coaster accident, that's somebody that was breaking headstones at a graveyard. Like, that's how that shit happens.
Okay, I did not know that's where you were going with that. Moving on. So we're getting ready to take off. We will see you guys on the road and enjoy the show.
So, just being around here, like you're saying, there's nobody around really.
I haven't seen a car since we got out on the road.
And then you think about towns like Pere Cheney and what caused them to become abandoned. Like, people don't come back to this area. There's still nothing here. Is it the land that is truly sour? I mean, that's why this town allegedly fell to shit.
It's failed crops and farming. I thought it was disease.
It was. But I mean, the disease causes the crops to fail because everybody's killed and you can't.
So I don't think that's the land being sour, I think.
Well, I mean, like, the land...
It's so secluded from civilization. How can anybody get better? There are no doctors around, and...
That's true, too.
There's no hospital nearby, and quite honestly, I would not feel comfortable living out in an area like this. Like, we were passing long dirt road driveways that I'm assuming, end up in somebody's property. Oh my God, there are people walking in the road. I see people. There's people out here.
There are definitely people walking in the road.
Just like hanging out in the middle of the road way ahead. They
Two
stopped
people.
walking
It
ever
appears
since
they've
they saw
stopped.
us.
They're definitely talking to each other.
I wonder if they're hill people.
They don't look like hill people. The one guy is definitely wearing long pants, probably a button-up shirt.
Oh, we're approaching. They're
Yeah.
having a deep conversation.
Looks like a neighborly. It looks like he's talking to a contractor or something. They're on
Alright.
four-wheelers.
Oh, see, guys, they're all eyes on four-wheelers.
Everybody's on four-wheelers, and yep.
Um,
So you see people from a distance, and you're like, "Holy fuck! Let's turn around and go."
Because I'm scared that they're gonna jump at me with the chainsaw.
But then you pass by, and they're like, we're just hopping back on our four-wheeler. Give you a wave, a smile, and throw a Bud Light in your car.
Testing. I don't know why I'm testing. Cause
We
it's not
are-
Like we can hear.
Yeah, I could see the bars moving, so
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
So,
go ahead. We're just leaving Pere Cheney.
It was pretty creepy. I
We're-
don't know what was more creepy,
Alright.
the cemetery itself or the road going into the cemetery.
Yeah, we're driving through a big puddle right now. Hopefully not going to get stuck. Nope, we're doing good.
I'm a fucking
Almost
pro.
took my antenna off, but
Wait,
Jill's a pro.
that's not my
It's just
fault.
an antenna. Nobody listens to the fucking radio anymore anyway.
All right, so yeah, we're just leaving the cemetery. A lot of really unique plots, I guess, and a lot of really unique and very, very old headstones, and even some just plot or grave markers.
Very old. I did not see a single birth year after 1900.
Yeah. And I guess some of the plots that we've seen, they range. We'll of course post all the pictures. We took pictures of everything. Oh, if you. Oh,
Yeah,
thanks,
just,
Waves.
Just back.
Yeah, we're navigating, so we weren't the only ones there, which kind of made us.
Feel better and also a little weird.
Yeah, because we were definitely like jotting like mental notes and taking lots
Yeah,
and lots
I mean,
of pictures.
everybody was super friendly. One guy was like, "Hey, there's a trail back there. Don't go on it."
Don't go on that trail. And no trespassing signs
Yeah,
everywhere.
he probably didn't have a good time.
But it also that should make any of our listeners who are interested in coming out to this quote unquote ghost town in northern Michigan, you just feel better about coming out here because it's not like it's a well-known area. It's safe to travel out here.
There are people that live nearby, and like we heard people talking probably on their property while we were walking around the graveyard.
Yeah, just in overall, I'd say almost like a little eerie feeling. I don't know if that's because it's a dreary day, but I mean, definitely you can feel that there's lots of history there. I didn't feel like I was in any ghostly presence, but it was a really unique and cool cemetery if you're into visiting those kinds of locations.
Yeah, it felt, like Jill said, more dangerous getting out here. Like, we had to drive around some really sketchy back roads up here.
So if you guys have family or friends up here and they have quads, I highly recommend driving those out here rather than taking a car.
Like, the road is pretty well kept. You will probably make it through. Yeah, like we said,
we're in a Jeep Wrangler, or not Wrangler, sorry,
Patriot. We did run into a big puddle, so just be careful of that. We probably could have gotten stuck in it. Some of the guys on four-wheelers we ran into said that there was a big drop, so they are probably speaking from experience.
Yeah, and I think what we'll probably do is we're going to go through and look at some of the pictures that we took, and we'll just jump right into a discussion once we're back at our home base recording studio, and we'll let you know what we find on the pictures that we took, if there's any information or history behind some of the people on the grave markers, or if there's any I know there's a legend of the witch of Pere Cheney, so we will catch up with you guys back in the studio and give you a little bit of insight to this town's history.
Yeah, I'm taking pictures of the road we're on right now. It is literally one lane. We thankfully never saw anybody
On the road.
Yeah. But I'm sure anybody who's who lives in a more rural area is familiar with these sorts of roads, and it's nothing new to them, but it's not something we interface with on a daily basis.
All right, everybody. So we are back in our home recording studio. We made it back in one piece. The hill people of Michigan did not get us.
We did not encounter any hill people.
No, everybody that we met up there was super friendly and very, very nice.
That's right.
But I will say, kind of being in that area, very rural, very secluded, it was almost kind of creepy just driving around. And like we mentioned in our on-site recording, it was a pretty dreary day. It wasn't like super warm. It was very cloudy. So I guess that kind of added to the ambience of the situation.
I think it's always creepy going somewhere you've never been before.
Right.
Especially when you're kind of out, I hate to say in the middle of nowhere, but really, yeah, you're nowhere
Like,
to nobody.
There were houses out there, but nobody that would be interested in being in anybody else's business.
Yeah, the street we ended up, I was calling it a street, the trail, I guess we ended up taking, it was off-road. It was a seasonal trail. Isn't that what they called it?
Yeah, a seasonal trail. And we actually saw quite a few of those as we were driving out in Pere Cheney, the Grayling area, Roscommon County.
Yeah, so it's 10 miles southeast of Grayling in Crawford County.
Yeah, it was a quiet area. I'll just put it like that. But technically the trail was right behind a family's home. They had no trespassing, be careful, kids playing in yard signs. We could see the backyard.
You see them everywhere when you go out outside of the city. No trespassing signs. This place was no different.
Yeah, so the only kind of spooky thing about this trail that we had to drive down, it was very narrow. It had the potential to have your tires get stuck in the dirt.
Yeah, 2-track road, one way. Unfortunately, fortunately, we never ran into anybody and had to stop.
Well, the only people we ran into were driving quads, and we actually ran into a couple of different groups on quads and had a nice conversation with some gentlemen out there.
Yeah, quads, four-wheelers, whatever you want to call them, ATVs.
We're in Michigan. We call them quads.
We call them quads. It makes sense. It's all, yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of a winding road. It runs right across, or right in parallel with the railroad. I'm not
tracks.
sure if
It intersects the railroad tracks and loops around, I think, onto something called Cemetery Trail.
Yeah.
It's you can find the map location on Google Maps for the cemetery.
Easy.
And you can get directions to it, and it will route you there, and we were able to follow that. And as you heard in our recording from when we were in the car, we went over this giant puddle. We came to a fork in the road where it kind of forked around and then met back to itself.
But I was a baller, and I handled the situation
you heard Jill
very
get
well.
us through. And we talked to the guys that rode their ATVs through it, and I guess it dropped off.
It was pretty deep.
It looked deep. That was a big puddle.
We would have totally been stuck. But anyway, enough about the road, because we went out there to see the cemetery.
That was half the fun, though.
It was. I honestly, I would not drive down that road at night. That was terrifying.
That was terrifying.
It was scary during the day. I mean, I had a lot of the same feelings brought up as when I was watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was so scared.
I can imagine, like, you're behind the wheel of your car, headlights only thing lighting that, like, in the darkness. That's Blair Witch all the way. Like,
absolutely. Like, what
creepy.
If, like, I keep thinking, if I'm driving out in the country, because, I mean, a lot of my family lives out in this very small community, and, we're coming home from Christmas events, and we're driving in these very secluded areas on dirt roads, and I'm always so afraid of seeing somebody out there in the headlights. Like, what is this person doing? Are they sleepwalking? Like, why do they have this scary mask on? But yeah, so we ended up pulling into this little stone and gravel parking lot that another minivan was parked in. You could see the mom; she was sitting behind the wheel, and the father and the son were out exploring the cemetery. So we immediately kind of felt at ease once we actually got out to the cemetery. You know, after doing some research and learning that it was supposed to be maintained by the county, it was pretty fallen apart.
It was really beat up.
It was so beat up.
I found a YouTube video from 2015 that some people recorded walking around the area. They had metal detectors digging up the grass, kind of fucked up.
Not cool.
Not cool. That's what I thought. But we saw a bunch of holes around there when we were there. Anyway, and there's some signage around, like stating the hours, what the place was. And when we got there was nothing. Everything was rusted. Everything
was tipped over. We could really only make out maybe 3 of the graves. Is it proper to say gravestones or grave markers?
I think
Are both
graves? Some of them were.
The,
I don't know
the plot markers.
The proper jargon.
We want to be as respectful as possible
Yeah.
when we discuss this, so please let us know if anybody's out there, if you know the proper terminology to use in these discussions. I think we'll just keep calling them gravestones or grave markers. But yeah, we could barely make any of these out. We didn't find anything where the dates didn't start before 1899. So everybody who is buried there was born in the 1800s, and I'm not sure if we saw somebody who was predicted to die in the 1900s, but they did not have an end date to their lifespan.
Well, supposedly about 100 people are buried there. I'll post a link that I found of a map of the cemetery. You can see all the plots. There are a lot of them.
After we did not look at this map before we went out there, we probably walked on every single.
You can't help it. There's so many of them are unmarked. There are a lot of places where it looks like the headstones were either destroyed or they'd been removed and they had been replaced with these giant stones, these big rocks.
Yeah, and I actually took a lot of pictures, so you can see the variations of how well kept these sites are. So you'll be able to see a few of the sites where there are just stones. Some of them have stones with fake flowers and an American flag. We found this one, I'm assuming it's a plot, where somebody literally took a bunch of big rocks, lined them up in a straight line, and pounded them into the dirt.
Yeah,
almost
those
a design.
have been there for a while.
Yeah.
They had mossed over. You'll see in the photos.
And we've seen, there are some that it looked like teenagers just kicked them over and the stones cracked and nobody bothered to either repair or, I mean, the weeds are literally just growing through the cracks.
You're accusing the teenagers again.
I was a teenager. I know it was the teenagers.
Always kicking things.
Always kicking things and breaking things and ruining it for the rest of us. But, I mean, to be quite honest, it did make for some good pictures, but it's very improper and very disrespectful to do.
Yeah. I agree. Also,
go ahead.
Excuse me. Also on the site that I found the map on, there is a Microsoft Word document of the occupants. A compiled list of the known occupants according to a few sources. A few books, I think. A lot of them children. A lot of them young children. And I think, should we get into the history of what happened there? Why there are so many children in that cemetery?
Yes, please do.
So, what happened, on the record, it was diphtheria. Disease broke out in the town 2 times. Once in 1893 and then 4 years later in 1897.
What is diphtheria? Diphtheria is an infection caused by a bacterium
Corynebacterium. You're the awful Corynebacterium diphtheriae.
Oh my god, I hope that we didn't contract diphtheria.
Okay, sore throat fever, gray or white patch develops on the throat, block the airway, create backup. And a barking cough, known as a croup. The neck may swell.
Signs and symptoms vary from mild to severe. It starts about 2 to 5 days after the exposure, and symptoms come on fairly gradually, beginning with a sore throat and fever. In some severe cases, a gray or white patch develops in the throat, and it can block the airway and create a barking cough known as the croup. Is it crew or croup?
I don't know. Don't look at the photos. Don't Google image diphtheria.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh!
It's not good. It's not good.
Oh. Okay, I hope
Okay.
my reaction is deterring you. I'm kind of nervous that we went there. Are we going to catch diphtheria?
So what I read is the neighboring towns after the first outbreak, well, I think maybe after everyone had left, they burnt the town. They burnt what was there because they didn't want the disease to spread anymore. So here's the history of the town. It was established in 1874.
That's not that long ago.
The population was about 1,500 people. So what did I say? 1893, you've got the first outbreak. And by 1901, there are only about 25 people left.
Damn. That's
Yeah.
terrible.
They are either fleeing to neighboring cities or
Dad.
they were dead. Yeah.
And we were just walking all over them.
Yeah, that's where they're all buried.
At least 100 of them. I don't know where the other
Right.
1,000 are.
So anyway, there are a few, I guess, theories behind. I won't even call them theories. There are some local legends about what happened at Pere Cheney. One in particular is that the founder of the town, George M. Cheney, had actually stolen the land from a local Potawatomi tribe. And as retaliation, the tribe cursed the land and anybody who tried to live there. That's what brought on the disease.
Moral of the
Twice.
story: don't steal from other people.
Just don't.
Just don't steal.
Learn from our ancestors and what we did to the Native Americans.
Don't steal.
Don't steal.
So what about this Pere Cheney witch that I've
The
heard
witch.
so much about?
Yeah, I'm
That
not
we're not sure if we saw or not.
what to make of the witch. I guess there is a list of the top witch graves in the nation, and Pere Cheney's number 2. I'm not sure what number 1 is. But although it is an unmarked grave, there's no sign that says, "Here's the witch grave. Come yonder." So what I've found online, one source said she's buried under a big tree, or they burned her. So they probably burned her. I don't know. So the witch story is, there was a young woman in the town at one point that was accused of witchcraft, and she was cast out. Go live in the woods, bitch. Get out of here. We don't want your witchcraft. Mucking up the town.
Oh my. Okay. Well, I don't think anybody was from Boston. Boston.
Yeah, this is what's the Michigan accent for that part? Some parts of Michigan you get a little twang.
You get a little
You
bit
get a
of
little bit of
twang.
twang. We don't want your witchcraft up here. No more now. Get
I
out of
wouldn't
here,
say
child.
it's a New Jersey twang.
I can't do it.
No,
I can't do it.
Neither of us are very good at doing accents.
We won't try.
Sorry if we offended with our
Anyway,
accents.
they cast this woman out for witchcraft, and as retaliation, she curses the town.
So she was a witch.
Well, if she was a witch and they cast her out because of it, allegedly,
She got the last laugh.
she had the power to curse the town.
So don't steal and don't cast out.
Yeah, don't accuse people of being witches. If they're being witches,
Just leave them alone. They won't bother you.
yeah, or they really will bother you.
Not if you leave them alone.
But if you don't, then they'll get you.
Apparently. So yeah, I mean, overall, a pretty cool trip. We probably spent about 45 minutes out there just walking the perimeter and looking at each site. It makes for a fun day trip. It's not like you're too far out of town. There are a couple of neighboring towns that are fairly close, 10-15 minute drive at most. But yeah, overall, a really cool area to visit if you want kind of a ghost hunting thrill in northern Michigan.
Yeah. So one place I read, people have reported hearing sounds of children while at the cemetery, but we practically had to drive around people's backyards to get there. I mean, there were houses just beyond the trees.
So
I heard children too. Yeah. Don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Ghost children.
I don't think there's any way we can prove that.
I did take a lot of pictures, like I said. I took a lot of landscapes. I've done my first sweep. Nothing popped up in my radar. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. I'll probably go do a second sweep, a more in-depth look through. Always hoping to catch something on film, but probably not. I didn't feel too weird or threatened or out of place there. Very serene, just kind of creepy because of how secluded the area is.
And it was in the morning.
Yeah, we went at 11 in the morning.
Yeah. And also people have reported when they get back to their cars, there are small handprints in the dust and the dirt on the car.
Those damn kids in the neighboring houses.
Yeah, coming up trying to get in your car and steal all your change.
So yeah, visit Pere Cheney. Pretty cool if you're up in the Grayling area.
You can find it on Google Maps. I'll put a link. There's I don't know if somebody took a picture with a 3D camera or what,
Nice.
but there's like a street view right inside the cemetery, so you can kind of pan around and check it out.
And we'll upload a little bit of a link to a gallery where you guys can check out all the pictures that we took. We also took some cool pictures from one of our favorite hotels in northern Michigan. I forgot what it's called.
The Stafford's Perry Hotel.
I just know it's big and yellow and beautiful.
It's gorgeous, big old brick hotel.
We've stayed there. We are always just having too much fun at the bar when we stay in northern Michigan, and I can't really recall what our room looked like. I know we were very impressed.
It's very cool. They've updated the interior a bit. When you walk in, it sort of feels like you've walked into like
an old Victorian home in the
homestead.
1800s.
Yeah, it's really amazing, and you kind of feel that way walking up the stairs and through the hallways.
Every stair has a little creak in it. It's really adorable.
It's kind of strange. When you walk in, it's very disorienting almost, because you walk in and you're already on the, I think, second floor, third floor maybe.
Second floor.
Second floor. You walk in, you're already on the second floor. The lobby's on the second floor. So you check in on the second floor, and then if you're on the first floor, which we stayed in, I think our first time there, you have to go downstairs. It feels like you're going into the basement into your room, but really you're just going onto the street. It's kind of weird the way
It's built on a hill.
I
The
felt like
city's
I
built
was
on
in
a
The
hill.
Shining.
Yeah.
Like the way you had to wind down that staircase. But it's really cool. There was a library on the third floor. You can kind of look out, see the parking lot. It's a really cool spot. We got a few pictures of it we'll put up.
The last summer that when we actually stayed there, it was like 2 a.m, and we actually just looked around the hotel and tried to find some ghostly activity. Unsuccessful. Apparently, there's a old chambermaid or something.
I don't know.
Somebody, just a woman who's all dressed in white that roams the halls in the middle of the night. And we heard that there's a lot of activity in this library. So we actually took a deck of cards and sat in the library for a good while last year and played a little bit. And of course, nothing happened. It was getting hot and stuffy up there. So we took the party down to the wraparound porch. And
the front porch is great.
It's beautiful. I highly recommend staying there. But like Ben said, I did manage to catch a couple of shots of the library. It's not a huge room, but it's definitely, you can feel the history there.
Yeah, and the books, some of the books, they've got a dictionary there that's
Oh, it's like
that's probably
hundreds.
10,000 pages.
Yeah, or no, I
It's,
guess not hundreds.
I don't know, 6 inches off the desk.
No, it was more like, it was
8.
almost a foot.
Really?
It was
Yeah,
really
it's a big
tall.
book. And they had encyclopedias from God knows what year they were falling apart too. It's a historic place. It's very cool. Beautiful garden, right on the water. It's killer.
Highly recommend if you are looking for kind of a luxury haunted hotel. Definitely check out Stafford's Perry Inn. And they have the cutest little art gallery right up back for anybody who's an art fan. And they have a gorgeous, I guess, backyard that's like a fenced off garden where you can just sit and enjoy and listen for the woman in white crying in the middle of the night, roaming the halls.
Yeah. So if you've been to Pere Cheney, if you've stayed at the Perry and had any experiences, or you know anybody that has, maybe you've worked there.
Submit your stories.
Yeah.
Send us your stories because
Come join us.
we would love to hear about your experiences at Pere Cheney. We would love to hear about your experiences staying at the Stafford, at the Perry. We would love to hear your experiences about just your Michigan haunts in general. We have heard that this is the 7th year, so the Michigan Dogman should be making an appearance. Anybody with a Michigan Dogman
Woof,
story?
woof.
Woof woof. We did keep our eyes peeled as we were driving around in the backgrounds, but did not see any.
I have a theory about
animals.
the dog man.
Yeah.
Could it just be a really ugly man?
Yes. It could be.
And what if he's embracing the legend? Once a year, I'll come out.
No, it's not once a year. It's once every 7 years.
That's what I meant.
Is it? Or no, it's any year that ends in a 7. So 1727. So it's every 10
So it's
years.
every 10 years, the 7th year of every decade.
I think so. I don't know. Somebody correct us. Share your story.
Yeah. Have you seen the dog man?
Come join us at the fire.
I think you might be full of shit.
No. I would
you don't
love
know
to
what
hear
you
it.
saw. You don't know what you saw.
Okay,
We
all
want to
right.
ask you.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Adios, amigos.
Bye. Catch you later. Hasta la vista. Dog man.